I'm Hannah.
And I'm Matt Hannah.
And this is Horror Hour with the Hannahs.
Where if it terrifies, we talk about it. And boy, oh boy, does this one terrify.
Yes. Today we are talking about Hokum, a very scary movie.
I'm sure everyone has seen the trailers for it. It's been all over the place. Neon has marketed the hell out of it.
And the trailers themselves
are really scary.
Really scary. The imagery of what looks like bunny ears guy.
He's actually a donkey. He's right behind us, and if you're on TikTok.
But I know he's supposed to be donkey. To me, he's still giving like fucked up bunny.
Yeah.
Horrifying in all of the trailers and teasers. I think the trailers for this movie were great, and I think they did a really great job pushing out the marketing for it without doing the whole like BS, the scariest movie you'll ever see thing. And what's funny about that is they didn't pull that marketing ploy, but it is like the scariest movie of 2026 so far.
Definitely.
Spoilers.
I totally agree. It's definitely the scariest of all the ones I've seen.
Mm-hmm. And I think we knew it would be because we saw Oddity and loved Oddity.
I guess we should say this is Damian McCarthy. You'll give some background. Mm-hmm. But before we get into that, I have to say we're both having some whiskey cocktails. Actually, I'm just having whiskey on ice on the rocks. So cheers. And if you've seen the movie, you know why. But if you haven't, go see it. So we're going to keep it spoiler free.
It's whiskey.
It's whiskey. Of course, I drank all of it.
Yeah.
We are going to be talking about it spoiler free for a little bit. We'll let you know when we won't be. So let's first say, when did we first see this?
When did we birth this?
When did we both see this for the first time?
We saw this at Overlook Film Festival, so we saw this early.
Hella early, alongside 13 other movies.
Yeah, so it was a really busy weekend. We saw it the first full weekend of April. And then I saw it again early in Philadelphia.
I didn't go with you on that one. And then we saw it again today. So Hannah has seen this movie 3 times. I have seen this movie twice. And I enjoyed it both times. And so the true test is probably you. 3rd times. Was it just as enjoyable, if not more, on time 3?
It is still good on time 3. I think my favorite watch might have been time 2.
Okay.
Because on the first watch of a horror movie, if you're like me, you are just tense and scared the whole time.
I was pretty freaked out the first time.
I think sometimes there are details you might miss, and I do think this has a lot of foreshadowing in the first act that on second watch I was able to pick up on, and I thought that was really interesting and really cool. And so on 3rd watch, I was like, you know what? I should have taken notes the second time, and I forgot to bring a notepad. So on 3rd viewing, I actually brought a notepad so I could write down some of those moments. So inherently, if I'm like writing notes on a notepad, it's probably not my favorite watch, but that's like a me problem.
Yeah, you looked like a real dweeb, but also you looked kind of badass taking your notes in the theater with me today.
But there are just so many really cool details that I said, either foreshadow what's going to come, or are details that further explain what happens later. So there are things that will happen later in the film that you're like, where'd that come from? But if you paid attention, they already explained it.
It's hard to know to pay attention to it on the first time, but like then thinking back, I think there's a lot of like, oh my goodness moments. Mm-hmm. So,
and I will say the first time we saw it was in a festival environment. Obviously, when you see things early or at a festival, there's like expectations, the energy in the room is kind of crazy.
The energy in the room there are people bustling in and out.
So there are things that will impact your viewing experience for better or worse in that setting. So I thought, later getting to watch it outside the festival setting was really cool. And I still really liked it. So this movie, I've given it the same score every time.
Yeah, I have too.
I know a lot of people saw this movie at South by and then rated it much higher on their second viewing.
I know.
Which is really interesting.
It was funny. I was one that on immediate watch, I was like, I really like this. I felt this way. When people would be like, it's okay. And then as time went on, we'd have had friends and other reviewers be like, no, it's really good.
Yeah.
So
I'm interested to see if people are still having that experience now that the film is
So right off the bat, we're saying we both really like it. This is a big time theater watch. Go to your cinema, go wherever, see this on a big screen in a dark room with loudspeakers because it's tense.
Oh boy, yeah.
But not only is it tense, and I know this is just general thoughts. Can I do my general? Not only is it tense, it's just a well-made, well-crafted script and movie. So it works. It's very I was calling it kind of like a perfect film in some ways where it's not, I mean, there are movies that are perfect films. I don't know if this is a perfect film, but everything is there for a reason. I felt there was no fat, there was no excess, and there was nothing missing. Everything felt like it fit like a nice tight glove. So those are my initial thoughts. So go see it.
I agree completely. I will get into that further, but I do think we should do some background before I get into it.
Did you want to have any other general thoughts? I was just throwing that
I'm
out.
going to do mine after I do the background.
Bad. You got it.
This film is written and directed by Damian McCarthy. This is his third film after Caveat and Oddity.
Which we've seen both of.
And Oddity came out in 2024 and was on the top of a lot of people's list. People found that movie terrifying. Us included.
I also, okay, you got it. That's our background.
So it's very exciting when this came out. This film, the main actor that you will recognize is Adam Scott, which was exciting because so far anything that he's done in horror has been horror comedy. Really, like the Monkey.
Severance is considered not that.
Okay.
Fine, I got you. Go ahead. Yes, everything.
So this is pure horror, ladies and gents. And he was really compelling, and I can't wait to talk about him more. The back of the box description for this film: a horror writer visits an Irish inn to scatter his parents' ashes, unaware the property is said to be haunted by a witch.
Easy enough.
And when this film was being made, Damian McCarthy said one of his inspirations was that he wanted to revive the haunted hotel subgenre.
Okay. You know, I never really thought of it much as a haunted hotel, more just like, but yeah. Obviously it's a haunted hotel, but it feels like so much more.
Because it's so much more than that.
It's very folk horror in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. So
it is folk horror, yeah. Another thing that I thought was interesting from watching interviews and whatnot, someone that I follow actually got a chance to interview him. And if I remember who that was, I would tell you their name, but I don't remember their screen name. So my bad. I'm a bad
friend. That's okay.
I don't
get on with it.
Know them. So they asked Damian McCarthy, do you have, like, what is the deal with bunnies or rabbits for you? Because you have two films, Hokum is one of them, that has bunny imagery. And he said he thinks that is influenced by seeing Watership Down when he was really young.
Which is awesome. Very funny. I've actually never seen. I know enough about it through cultural osmosis, though.
And I've seen, you've
seen clips,
images of it.
It's fucked up.
And that is like a fantasy adventure-ish thing about a group of rabbits who escape destruction of their home or something. So, but it's like really brutal and
yes, it's gross.
It's like
graphic.
Horror movie animation bunnies. Yeah. So I thought that was very funny. Finally, the last background fact that I will give is Adam Scott was saying that, when you're filming a horror movie, it's not really scary for you to be in it because of all the environmental factors. You're also like, what's going on.
You're shooting out of order, probably.
You're shooting out of order. The lighting is different. Like, all of these factors. But he said he had to do ADR for the film. So he had to do voiceover. And it's him it was supposed to be him doing heavy breathing. So he was watching footage of the film, doing his heavy breathing. And then there was a jump scare in the movie. And then he screamed. And then Damian McCarthy was like, hey, I like that you're taking some artistic liberty here, but all I really need is breathing.
And in reality, yeah.
Yeah, so Adam Scott is scared of his own work.
You got some screams from me during this both of my watches. My second watch, I knew what was scary and I still screamed.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I hid 5 to 6 times on my first watch and a couple times on my second watch still. And the first time we saw the movie, I screamed twice. Do you remember how many times you screamed the first time?
Absolutely not.
You screamed at least once.
Okay.
Minimum. But I don't remember more than that.
And how many times did I gasp or scream this time? 4 or 5 on second viewing?
So we saw the movie again today, and Matt either jumped, like flinched really severely, or gasped 6 times.
That's awesome.
We also
I was
saw the
having a great
movie
time.
today with my mother, who is in her late 60s, and was like, I don't know if I want to go. It seems like it'll be too scary for me.
And
but
we
I
made
was
her
like,
go
Mom,
anyway.
you've watched the Conjuring movies. You're fine. And you, like, loved them. Girl was
She was unfazed.
unfazed.
I couldn't believe it.
And I was so impressed with Deborah.
And what I'll say is, I didn't find that the scares that worked for me, yeah, there was a couple jump scares that were very well crafted, but the movie sets such a tense and unrelenting atmosphere and has such an interesting story that the jump scare part of it doesn't get old. And the parts that scared me the most were not the jump scares. It was really just moments of staring into darkness,
Yeah.
which is like very, very Skinamarink-like, as you know.
And there's imagery, there's a character design that we'll
fantastic.
elaborate on in spoiler section that really scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
We did ask our followers online, what do you think will be the scariest horror film of 2026?
Okay.
We got a lot of answers saying Hokum.
I would
So-
say at this moment, Hokum is the scariest movie I've seen this year, but my favorite horror movie I've seen this year was Alpha, which no one is seeing because
And
it's
it's
French.
like maybe not
Not exactly horror. It was pretty
Yeah.
it can be scary at times. So Hokum is up there though.
for
I
like a
think-
pure horror, like undisputed horror. This is your favorite. And the scariest.
This is sure, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So we asked our followers, what do you think will be the scariest? Mike and Serial said, so far, Obsession and Hokum are winning scariest movie of
Yep,
the year for me.
I like
because
Obsession a lot.
They got to see both of them at Overlook, where we saw them.
We're gonna be seeing Obsession again.
Yeah.
So.
Our friend Matt Dalton said, Hokum Passenger also looks freaky. Agree. Ripex Reed said Hokum for sure, had me jumping out of my seat because they also were at Overlook Film Festival and that's someone we actually met there. So hi, thanks for following and listening. John Cryer said I have a good feeling about
Like
Zach
the
Kreger.
Jonathan Cryer? No, I'm kidding.
No.
It's not how it's spelled.
I have a good feeling about Zach Kreger's Resident Evil from everything we've heard thus far because this was posted before the trailer dropped.
That trailer was decent. I would love to talk about that at some point, but this is not the Resident Evil podcast today.
Movie Postmortem podcast also said Kreger's Resident Evil. They said the
Interesting.
potential from the source material and director is certainly there. And I think that's a very fair point. This is a director who knows how to make scary shit. Kreger.
Definitely. But he also is goofy, and Resident Evil's supposed to be a little goofy. Like, they need to find a mix, but... So, that should be good for him, I hope.
Yeah. So, all around, people had their expectations on Hokum and Resident Evil
Yeah,
seem to
weird.
be, the ones I'm seeing the most.
People are going to be shook by Obsession, then.
Obsession's a different kind of scary, too.
For sure.
So, it's very interesting. I'm excited to see what people think of that.
Okay.
So, we can fully dive in
Spoiler-free
without
dive in.
spoiling.
Okay.
We're done our background section.
We told you how much we hid and screamed.
So, you kind of gave us your brief overview.
I did, yep. Let's hear what you thought.
I really like this film. I think that I already said that. I think that's clear. I found that, especially on further watches, I was really impressed by how well everything in this film tied together. I don't think that there is a single detail that doesn't have some rationale in the film. I think almost everything that we're seeing will come up later in the film. And I think it's really impressive how these things are able to weave in together. Even the designs of the room that we're exploring, that we spend a lot of time in, I feel like we get a good concept of the space.
I'm going to talk a bunch about that later.
And I feel like they really set up what's in the room for what we will interact with later.
I'll talk about it right now because it's not a spoiler. I've explained this to people out there. I think Damian McCarthy is doing something better than every other horror director, and I'm calling it space building. It's like world building, but with smaller spaces. And what he does in these horror movies is he gives you a complete understanding of the space that you're in, and he sets up places that should feel safe and places that should feel dangerous. And so there are areas you're afraid of, and you fully understand how those places interact. But then he breaks the convention and will make a unsafe space, or excuse me, a safe space unsafe. He will have the walls break in front of you, and that's when you poop a little inside.
Poop
in
inside.
the pants. Poop inside your pants a little. And I'm so amazed. I think Oddity does this in an amazing way as well. There's a complete understanding of the physical 3D space, and it's something that I've noticed with him more than any other horror director, and I think that's really cool. That's like his magic that he has, and it's awesome. It's really good. And this movie has it, and it takes place in such a small amount of space, and yet, and even for like short amount of times in these dangerous spaces, but you just feel it. You feel that you're there, and it works so well.
Yeah.
You feel the constraints and the claustrophobia and the the trappedness of it all. So
I also think the aesthetic of the space is really cool. I think what they're putting on screen for like visually what this place looks like or what the experience is like whether you've been to Ireland or not, or been to a small hotel or not, I feel like you're easily able to put yourself there into what that experience looks like.
I love the elevator. I love everything about this hotel. This is the place I would love to go, which makes it even scarier because I feel like this would work on me for sure.
Aesthetically, I feel like this movie is really cohesive.
100%.
Extremely cohesive in a way that I'm not sure that the other
what was the
two
word?
are able
Plithy.
to do.
It's plithy.
Pithy.
I don't know that word.
Pithy.
Someone told me it wasn't as pithy as I thought, and then he was like, "No, Matt, you're right.
No, it's very
Brian,
pithy.
we love you."
It's pithy.
And I literally went, "What that mean?" When he said it, he's like, and I felt really stupid. I was like, I'm gonna be honest,
really
I don't know what that means.
It was really funny.
So now I'm using it. It's very pithy.
Yes.
No fat. Everything's there for a reason.
I completely agree.
Even the stuff that's like slow burn and like feels a little silly, it just works for me. So
I think that the performances are also great. I think that Adam Scott is really impressive in this role. We haven't watched Severance yet, so our bad. But from everything else I've seen him in, I haven't really seen him be the main character that has to dominate every single scene.
I have such interesting feelings about him here because I think someone could watch this movie and think that he's kind of dry or like not acting how he's supposed to because it's a little off. And it really works for me. I actually really like
I think he is dry, but one, Adam Scott's kind of dry. That's his sense of humor. If you don't want dry, maybe don't see Adam Scott in a thing. For the most part, it's either dry or it's like bombastic, like Step Brothers. But what I would also say is that the character himself is really dry. This is a character
and sarcastic,
who's very
and
depressed and sarcastic and mean, and so it makes sense for that to be
definitely
how he is portraying the character. And I also think this is a character who has been through quite the emotional journey that we will get into when we spoil the film, so not right now. But I think because of the things he's been through, it makes sense for certain moments for him to not be like overacting or anything.
Definitely. It feels, and I feel like that might be a complaint, and I'm just saying it works for me. The performance he puts on in here, it makes sense.
I think he's really good. And
I think he's really excellent in terms of this like sarcastic, dry writer.
I think the moments where he gets to say things that are amusing, like the dry sarcastic humor that he uses when he's interacting with people in the hotel in like the first act, I giggled or snickered at a lot of things.
He's such an asshole. It's perfect. He's like that. He's
awesome.
He feels like someone you know. He feels like a jaded person, cynical, and it works. I'm very impressed with him. Also, his look, his nasty little beard they have him in, like his kind of fucked up facial hair, is great. So
yeah, he is great. I love his outfits. I love how they costume him. I love his like rolled up cuffs of his jeans with his boots.
I want to shout out someone on TikTok Live. Huey Kane said it's intended to be forced because he's suppressing emotions and coping. Yeah. I think that is a perfect interpretation of how it feels, and he nails that. So, shout out, really does shout out Huey.
And he's not. I think a lot of times in horror, sometimes we see these like really showy emotional performances, and I think that he's doing a really emotional performance without doing that. And I think that that's kind of impressive to have a subdued performance that is also so emotional and tied into the feelings.
Yes. Can I also say, I think he makes like reasonable decisions throughout this movie.
I think
and like
the
for a
writing
horror
for
movie,
that
like he
it's great.
is very like cool, calm, and collected in I think pretty impressive ways for a horror movie. So
I think he uses the logic that a real person who is able to use their noggin. And the thing is they set him up to be smart. He's a really successful writer. He's clearly an intelligent man. If you're writing books,
the Conquistador trilogy,
if you're writing what they imply, like the style he's writing, like he's not a Colin Hoover, you know? He's like an award-winning novelist.
He's more of a Frank Herbert.
And so I think that you expect him to make smart decisions because he's clearly a smart person. And he does.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think of what else we want to say that's on spoilers. You guys know that we really liked it. I would say it's lit great and it's shot beautifully. Really shot beautifully. It's got a nice grain to it, uses some interesting film techniques, and its use of lighting to create scares that aren't jump scares, but are just like staring down the barrel of a shotgun feeling in the theater. He nails it. And I also think McCarthy's like the modern king of jump scares anyway, in terms of like legit real jump scares. But his ability to make me nauseous via scares is kind of unmatched. At this moment. I don't want to be like super glazed because there's a lot of really good horror directors out here, but they're all good at different things. And I would say like I joked that I literally got like full body nausea the first time, not from anything gross, but just from a scary moment. And I felt a very similar feeling on second watch. So it's working. And I'd be interested to see what other people think.
When you mentioned the lighting, that's something that I've also thought a lot about with this movie. And I think you can even see it in the posters for the film where he's holding the lantern. I think that looks incredible. And I think in the movie, the way that he is lighting the scenes with his own lantern. I love when movies do that and it looks good and it looks great here. I think it's a really
Usually
cool touch.
They're not just using the lantern to light it. They're just really have good technical guys that are also like spotlighting, is my understanding.
Yeah.
So that's even cooler. Like to be able to like give the feel of that. Also the whole room he's in being like boarded up and he turns the lights on and it barely lights up the room because there are all these dim ass old lights. Like and this
it's this old room that's not being used, so everything is dirty and grungy.
One more non-spoiler. I was going to say the set design, immaculate.
It's great. It's so good.
And I kind of talked about the space building. The set design is so much a part of that. This hotel is awesome. So okay, anything else you think we can?
Well, on that, I think it's really cool that they're able to have so much of the movie set in one small space that still makes that space so scary.
Also, the movie takes place over 2 days.
Well, the second and third act, yes.
Correct.
A majority of the film, is taking place in a literal 24-hour period.
It happens fast for a 100-minute movie.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think this movie is also paced extremely well.
Definitely. It's not exactly a slow burn, but it has its slow burn moments that are still really compelling. And the script outside of the horror stuff is so fun. Fun. We'll call it fun. It's so interesting that you still enjoy like what you're seeing here. It really compels you to then have to face on the barrel of the scares, as I put so eloquently earlier.
Yeah. I also think the character writing, in addition to Adam Scott, is great. Like, there is a character, Fiona. They want you to care about her. And just from a single scene, you care immensely about this person. Like, she's rad as hell, and you care so much about
from her single
experience.
line of, what does he say? Where she's like, are you lost? Like, what does it look like? And she was like, well, with that attitude, you can stay lost.
Yeah. Immediately, you're like, okay, she's badass. Yeah. And I just really like how they set up her and her experience and how she contributes to the narrative and to his emotional experience. I'm trying to think what else I liked. I just think ultimately this movie is also very thematically rich. Definitely. I think it has like a primary theme that everything builds on extremely, extremely well in ways that you might not expect getting into this film, but I found thematically it was really interesting to me, and seeing it a second time I was able to put so much of that together.
100% agree with that as well. And we talked about that before, even just like looking at it after, feeling some of that.
Yeah, and I'm excited to start talking about it thematically and start talking about all the pieces that they foreshadow so early in the film. So I feel like we should just move on to our spoiler zone so I can gush about those things.
Let's do spoiler zone starting now.
Now we're entering the spoiler zone. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the spoiler zone. After this point, you're going to hear some things that you might not want to hear.
All right, let's do 15-second summaries.
Okay. So...
You want to go?
Yeah, I can go first.
All right, let me pull them timers up. Okay, best of luck, because I don't even know if I could do this one. All right, you ready? Go.
Yeah. Depressed writer accidentally killed his mom by shooting her and has been depressed his whole life after that. And he is going to spread mom's ashes, but he ends up at this hotel where this lady goes missing in a room with a witch. So he's trying to investigate her. And then
That's
ran out of
15
time.
seconds.
I ran out of time. My bad. But then he comes to terms with his actions and is able to cope with his guilt and grief.
Yeah.
Is where I was getting.
This one, there's a lot that goes on, but not even that much. So let's do it.
Go
Okay. All right. So Adam Scott is a depressed writer who does try to kill himself, but survives because Fiona. And then he finds out that Fiona was killed by another guy. And then there's also a witch in there. And then his mommy ghost forgives him, and he forgives his dead dad and forgives himself, and then writes his book with a happy ending.
Nailed it.
He has a mommy ghost. Okay.
It was beautiful.
And I'm going to throw in, let's get to our full plot description. So in our movie, Ohm is an American author struggling to finish the epilogue of a successful Conquistador trilogy. Ohm decides to visit the Bilberry Woods Hotel in rural Ireland where his parents had honeymooned to lay their ashes. Ohm meets the whole staff, owner Cobb, his son-in-law and front desk clerk Mull, groundskeeper Fergal, bartender Fiona, and bellhop Albie. While spreading his parents' ashes, Ohm encounters Jerry, a local living in his van who frequently consumes milk laced with magic mushrooms. Back at the bar, Fiona and Albie tell Ohm that the honeymoon suite is locked off and supposedly haunted by a witch that Cobb had trapped inside. After belittling Albie's dreams of a writing career and burning his hand, Ohm returns to his room. Unsettled, Fiona checks on Ohm and discovers he has hanged himself. Ohm awakens in a hospital some weeks later, alive thanks to Fiona's intervention. When he returns to the hotel, Mal informs him that Fiona has been missing since the hotel's Halloween party. Mal also tells Ohm that Jerry is the prime suspect for both Fiona's disappearance and the murder of his own wife. Ohm confronts Jerry, who claims to have seen Fiona's ghost in the hotel one night, directing him to the honeymoon suite. Ohm doesn't believe Jerry's story, but he agrees to check the suite with him after dark. While the two wait, Jerry confesses to killing his wife, but says it was a mercy killing due to an unknown illness. He also claims that his wife's spirit thanked him after the fact during one of his mushroom trips. With the hotel closed for the season, Ohm and Jerry break to investigate. Fergal apprehends and knocks Jerry unconscious before driving him to the police. Ohm sneaks into the honeymoon suite, where he is haunted by supernatural visions of his mother and memories of shooting her dead by accident with his father's gun as a child. Mal arrives to retrieve Ohm, but as they start to leave, Ohm inspects a dumbwaiter, discovering Fiona's corpse inside. Mal locks Ohm in the suite and flees the hotel. Ohm finds a tape recorder on Fiona and learns that Fiona was pregnant with Mal's baby. Mal had drugged her and locked her in the suite to prevent his family from finding out. Jerry awakens in Fergal's van and jumps out before returning to the hotel. The hauntings intensify as Ohm struggles to find a way out. Spotting a fire escape on a map of the basement, Ohm descends via the dumbwaiter. He encounters the witch and escapes back up the suite, where he fends her off with a protective circle of chalk. In the morning, Mal returns to the hotel to dispose of Ohm and is surprised to find Jerry trying to get back into the honeymoon suite. Mal starts a fire in the hotel to cover his tracks before shooting Jerry dead with a crossbow as he enters the suite. Ohm flees into the basement with the keys to the suite elevator, pursued by Mal. Mal finds the keys but is attacked by the witch, who chains him up and drags Mal to the underworld. Ohm makes peace with his mother's ghost and removes his own chains before escaping the basement. As the hotel burns, Ohm collapses but is saved by Fergal. Albie visits Ohm in the hospital, telling him Fiona and Jerry's remains have been found, but Mal's is missing. Albie admits to vengefully spiking Ohm's whiskey with Jerry's mushroom powder, and Ohm had been basically drinking this the whole time. Ohm notices he still has rust on his wrist, consistent with being placed in chains, and recalls Jerry telling him that drugs allow humans to glimpse into the supernatural, which is real but otherwise invisible to those with closed minds. Ohm reluctantly promises to read Albie's manuscript and finishes writing a more hopeful ending to his Conquistador book. And that's our movie. So,
I want to talk about all of the things that are foreshadowed earlier in the film.
I definitely saw way more second time around, but you're the pro here that took notes on your third watch.
Yeah, and if I'm missing something, fill in.
Sure.
So
Hannah, what she's going to do is talk about all the hints of that he was going to try to commit suicide. Is that
hints
the
of
first
a
part?
ton of other things.
Okay, cool.
But that is what I'm going to start with. I think that, well, first I want to acknowledge that I do think that suicide in film can often be done in a way that I find extremely distasteful. And I was scared that this movie would, once I saw that was a plot point, once we got there, I was like, uh-oh, how are they going to go about this and tie it back together? And I feel like the way they do it is really well done. It doesn't feel like overly disrespectful or rude. Like, yes, it is shocking and it does have shock value, but I think it's so important thematically. So I want to just start by saying that, but there are a good amount of clues to the fact that he will attempt suicide by hanging. And so he's talking about his book that he's writing, and he's saying, I'm starting to think it'll be open-ended.
I caught that one. Can I also talk about the actual contents of the book in a second?
We can get
to there. Okay.
Yeah. And he also is talking about his mom dying, and we don't know at first how his mom died. And he says she was shot by someone, shot in the face. And then they were like, did they catch the guy? And he says it was someone who was too young to be prosecuted.
Oh.
Okay. So they say it was someone who was too young to be prosecuted. But then he says they should have hung him.
Or should have been hanged. Sorry.
Yeah.
The specific way.
So that is also like this little piece of foreshadowing that I thought was interesting, given he then attempts suicide by hanging.
Okay. Yeah.
Did you have more moments of foreshadowing that you noticed or wanted to bring up there?
I think just
piece?
the book itself, but that's also part of the theme. So not about that piece.
I think there are also foreshadowing about things that are to come later. I think all the witch details are set up really perfectly because we first have the older gentleman who owns the hotel explaining to his maybe grandchildren, maybe patrons of the hotel, whatever, about the lore of the witch. So he's kind of already giving us this detail. And then we get more lore of the witch through Fiona's book, which includes the detail about the chalk circle. So I really enjoyed that piece being there because I do think then everything that happens with the witch later has already kind of been explained to us. So we know what to do. We know how to cope with that, which I thought was really cool. I also think there is this really cool setup with that. It was someone that she knew that harmed her, that Fiona knew that killed her. Because there's a quote, I think that Jerry says, where he says, there are worse things out there than strangers.
It's not Jerry. It's the owner of the hotel.
Okay. Yeah.
There are worse things out there than strangers. Yep.
Oh, he says that. Yeah, he says that to Ohm right in the beginning.
Because Ohm's like, kids, go away. Don't talk to strangers.
Yes, and he says there are worse things out there than strangers, which is
and
really
he knows that there's a witch that he basically supposedly trapped down there.
But I think it's interesting because he's not even referring to the witch. I think that is foreshadowing that it's someone that she knew that
close.
Killed her.
Yeah,
which is someone that she was intimate with. And then I also think they talk quite a bit and set up the mushrooms quite well. Obviously, that's discussed often in the beginning with
the mushroom powder, the goat's milk,
with the goats and Jerry, drinking the shrooms. But then when he's talking about the shrooms, he says that you can use them to defeat demons, not just run from them. And that is something that is able to do throughout the film
because he was drinking mushroom powder the whole time.
Unfortunately, with mushrooms that he didn't know he was ingesting.
I actually didn't notice until this time because I was like, it's kind of interesting they don't do anything visually to show the mushrooms.
Do.
There's one point that is big where he's looking at an hourglass and he sees his two characters from his book and you kind of see the waves, like the vision, the when people see like tracers and things like that. And I was like, oh, there it is.
Yep.
That was like one of his moments of actually like tripping, even though a lot of it was probably part of the trip, but that allowed him to like see everything.
And then there are moments where he, like, they show the dumbwaiter that Fiona was in, and it looks empty for like a scene or two, and then he goes back to it and her body's there and he has to remove her. And I think that that is just another detail to like show that he's not fully in his right state of mind. And I think there are some details like that people are going to be like, continuity error, but I think is pretty deliberate.
Yes, definitely. I mean, that's the genius part about the tripping is you can wave away anything with that.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. That you
It's
think,
pretty fun.
he was on drugs.
It's very fun.
It's an easy way to cheat, but I accept it because it makes total sense that he was able to like see it and also come to terms. It's also kind of pro doing hallucinogens.
Because
I'm gonna get in trouble with TikTok for this one too. Hallucinogens will help you cope,
his mind.
which we know that's been done. Psilocybin's been used on terminal patients. It's been used for all kinds of stuff like that. So,
but I think specifically here, it's not just using it to cope, but I think it's him opening his mind to the spiritual guidance from Fiona and his mother, which is, I guess, part of his coping. But I think that was really interesting. I love that Jerry says that, and he's and almost like, well, do you think maybe you just saw her because you were on shrooms? And he's like, how else do you think I saw her? Like, they opened my mind to see her.
It's such a great, it's great.
And then I love the detail too at the end where he realizes that he was drugged with the shrooms by Albie the whole time, and he looks down at his wrists like, did I imagine that whole thing?
Because his wrists are bruised.
But his wrists are bruised, so you know it
something
happened. You know it happened. You know those things are real, but maybe his mind was just more open to like processing it as it was instead of like some cover up for what it was. I also think that, what else was I going to say? Shit. Yeah, okay. I just think all those details were really interesting. I'm really, just really cool.
Okay, I need to talk about the book because I love this. Unless you have another thing, can I talk about the book?
Go ahead.
Okay, so some people I think initially are like, "What's the whole point of his epilogue that we're seeing?" One, absolutely adore him writing the book, and then we actually see this whole other world, and it starts with this desert. Fan-fucking-tastic. That's the best way I can put it. I love seeing it. I love that it begins and ends with that and those characters. So the whole setup of that book is him writing about his relationship with his father.
Yeah.
He is the boy, his father is the conquistador.
Yeah.
And amazing. So it starts and it actually tells you exactly what's going to happen at the beginning, because the beginning, the father takes out his anger on the kid, takes out his frustration, and it uses the bottle to kill his own son. And that's what's going to happen. And what's going to happen in his book is both die, and that's what happens in real life. Dad goes down in the alcoholism route, drinks himself to an early grave, and now Ohm takes his own life because of all of this guilt he has felt, right?
And that's a really, that's also kind of a foreshadowing detail if you want to consider it, because he dies from the bottle, which is what says happened to his dad.
The bottle killed him. So I absolutely love that. So him even saying it's open-ended is because he's not going to finish it because he'll take his own life. But also what he's writing is implying he's going to try to take his own life or take his own life as he is the kid. What then happens at the end is when he rewrites it is he has now, because of doing shrooms, no, I'm kidding, but well, maybe, he has forgiven his father, it was honestly more important that his mom forgave him and he was able to forgive his father, because that's where his anger really is. And he's able to forgive himself, forgive his father for how his father treated him when he needed a dad. And he turns as this young boy. And when the dad is like, here, beat me over the head with this. And he's, no, I'd rather be with you than find this treasure, and throws it off. And he forgives this character. And both of them are able to like live happy. And while his father is dead, at least his image of him, he was able to forgive and like move on from. So, and I like that he can go on to like live his life. So I thought that was so interesting. And again, I loved showing this. I love the whole different visual style. I'm calling it Dune because there's dunes there. I know it's not Dune. It's, it's a conquistador, but I love it. It's so cool, and everything about it was fun. Yeah.
And I also really like this detail of, the first ending is so bleak, which Fiona acknowledges when she's talking to him at the bar. She's like, I'm not going to read that. That's too bleak. Like, call me when you write a happy ending or a hopeful ending. And what he ends up writing is this, recovered relationship between these two people that represent him and his father. But also when the son throws the bottle, it lands next to a skull.
A skull, which maybe they could actually use. And it's also a skull of a horned
like a
goat, which is like they were also throughout.
Yeah, the goats. So I really loved that detail as well, that because of this experience that he had with her, he ended up writing in this hopeful ending to his character.
And also everything he went through gets in there. So
I love that. I think it's so beautiful. I love the detail of the little skull.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very cool. Sorry, our cat is currently
climbing
my back, and I don't know what's happening. And he's a big boy, so it's very confusing and startling. He's a very weird guy.
So we went through a lot of that.
If you heard at one point just like this shuffling and then that was our small child jumping up on Matt's lap. And by small child I mean
dug his claws.
Kitten.
He Mufasa'd because he missed my lap.
He does that all the time.
And dug his claws into the meat of my legs. It was amazing.
Constantly.
It was not very comfortable. You're lucky I didn't scream into the mic. So, okay. We talked about some themes there as well, because a lot of this is about forgiveness, and we talked about a lot of foreshadowing. Was there any other foreshadowing moments, or can we get more into themes since you brought them up? I wanted to talk about the folklore portion for a second.
But you just brought up the themes.
Oh, okay, that's okay. Yeah, talk about themes. Yep.
So I think, obviously, there's this piece of that he is so guilty for what happened to his mother, and then he resents the relationship he then had with his father. But also knowing that his behavior is what, contributed then to his dad's behavior. So there's this big piece of it. But I like that the actual ghosts that we're seeing in this film,
the ones that are haunting him.
Is his mom.
And it might just be his guilt and not actually his mom.
And that's how I interpret it. He's haunted by the guilt of what he accidentally did to his mother, and that's why he's having the ghostly manifestations of her. And then her spirit is what ultimately saves him. And because she touches him where he has the little cutter,
the little saw. So when the witch is pulling him away, it's also the saw that they used to cut him down from when he was trying to commit suicide.
Which is why it's on his person.
Even more, it's on his person. And then he uses it to cut his chain so the witch doesn't take him into the underworld or wherever it is where the demons are going to rip him apart.
But he realizes it's there because her ghostly presence hugs him and touches his chest where it is in his pocket. And I love this moment because it's kind of freeing him both literally but then emotionally, freeing him of his guilt.
Which allows him to then be happy and again forgive his father.
Yes.
Which, I know his father's dead, but it's an internal forgiveness, which is, I like this kind of cycle of forgiveness.
And you mentioned everything with the epilogue of the book that we see in the beginning and end of the film and how that changes is demonstrating that forgiveness that he then has for himself and his father. And I do think there's this other really interesting detail that contributes to this whole read too, is there's this detail of Jerry having killed his wife. But
and they're all he killed her.
But we learn that he basically mercy killed his wife because she was dying of a terminal illness and was in pain, and he ended her suffering. And that he then later saw a ghostly apparition of her telling him that they'll be together someday.
I love Jerry. And justice for Jerry.
I love this detail because I think he's a really interesting foil to the other characters, especially who feels so much guilt. I think Jerry's really interesting because he has this peaceful acceptance of what he did.
Ooh, yeah. I'd never thought about him as a foil until you said that.
Yeah.
You're so smart.
I think it's a really, really interesting contrast there, and I love that bit. Jerry rocks.
Jerry does rock.
Jerry's a good person.
I think you hit a lot of the themes I thought about. I guess there's also this element with Mal basically trying to kill... Well, he did kill her. Not basically.
Yeah, he killed her.
Killing her because she was pregnant and he cheated and all that kind of stuff. And it's just another evil that men do moment. Which I think a lot of McCarthy's films have that plot about evil men.
Yeah.
Harming women. That is a very common thing.
Yeah. I mean,
or evil men harming other men.
I'm trying to think of Caveat. I don't remember that movie as well, but it's 100% present in this in Oddity.
Yes. Big time in Oddity.
Yes.
very Lynchian, if you ask me. Yeah.
I knew what you were like.
The evil that men do.
Quoting Twin Peaks.
No, it's true though. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about the folklore element of this as well. And it's something that I think McCarthy also nails. And so all three of his movies have Irish folklore at their center. Right. This one is about witches, which I didn't know this folklore that basically the witch will come and take you and chain you up and then drag you through the underworld where then demon monsters will rip you apart and take what they want as you get the tour. That is horrifying and amazing. This is my favorite portrayal of a witch in any movie.
Whoa.
That's my hot take. Shit, I should have saved that for hot takes.
Yeah, you should have.
I think this is the scariest and most interesting witch I've ever seen. And I love the witch, but the witch and the witch, not that scary. Awesome,
but not
the
scary.
movie is scary. The witch herself is scary, but not that scary. This
is
witch
very scary.
is like a ghost, kind of, also like a presence. And once you fully see her, she's like finally scary. It's once she changes you up that scares me. But her presence in the darkness and that cackle, it's amazing.
It's so
and it
scary.
should be goofy. It should be like silly witch stuff. And no, it totally works because of everything else that's
and
been
speaking of
set up.
her laugh and her voice in the darkness, we should probably say the sound design in this movie rocks too.
It's nuts. But I love this witch. I love how scary and just comically evil she almost is.
Yes.
And it's just like, this is her thing. She's down there. She's trapped down there. And if she's got the opportunity, she's going to take you to the underworld and you're going to die or wherever it is. So big fan of just the full-on design of the witch, every shot of her in there. The scene I was talking about earlier that made me nauseous was like the breaking of the safe space, which is when he comes back up the dumbwaiter and you're like, oh, he's safe now.
God, yeah.
Because he couldn't get it going and she was walking towards him and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to throw up. I'm going to throw up. And you're like, oh, he's safe now. And then he peeks and she's looking up at him and then she just starts crawling up the wall. And that's when I pooped a little.
You pooped a little.
That's when I almost threw up my espresso martini a little.
Yeah.
On first viewing, I was like, oh my God, he's not safe. No. And then he goes and draws that circle and that's when it becomes safe. Yeah. But it's still like, it was an absolute nightmare. And the whole idea of the sheets covering him and he can just see the horrors beyond the sheets. I felt like a little kid hiding under my covers because I thought Michael Myers was at my window or Freddy Krueger was at my window staring in. And the sheets were going to protect me. That's how this felt. And it brought me back to a primal young Matt fear.
Yeah.
And I just rambled a long time about the actual fear elements. I hope I made sense there.
I think you did.
It needed to be said. I let you talk a lot about foreshadowing, so I wanted to talk. But that's my main thing is this witch is so damn scary, and his filmmaking makes this witch even scarier. So,
I agree. She is really scary. And I also think we have like podcaster friends who are like get frustrated by portrayal of witches sometimes because of like obviously Wicca is like a current practice religion. And so, like, negative portrayals of that sometimes can be problematic and stuff. But I really like this. It's rooted in folklore.
Yep.
So, like, yeah.
I want to answer a question from Aaron on Twitter, which was, did you see the witch as an evil character or more so not evil or good? I think in the folklore, evil. And if I'm reading the text, I would say this is an evil witch.
Well, she's trying to drag him to hell, so...
Yeah.
But
I think they're also saying dark. You could read it as manifestation of like his guilt. I would say this as a
because she doesn't get him once he's able to like let go of his guilt. Yeah.
Yes.
So
and Mal gets taken because Mal's that's the other thing I wanted to say that McCarthy does that I love is that bad guys get their comeuppance in the way that you thought the good guys were going to. Does that make sense? In Oddity, you see it happen with the golem, the wooden golem actually being like kind of the good guy and just like goes after the bad guys. And that's scary and amazing. But you thought the whole time it was a danger to us. And in this one, this movie would be lame if not lame, but it's not as interesting if we don't actually see what happens if you're taken by the witch. But luckily we have a despicable character outside of the actual like witch, outside the paranormal, what word am I looking for? The folk horror character who's also evil, so they get to have the bad thing happen to them, which is really fun and scary.
And if any character deserves to be dragged to hell, it's this man who had an extramarital affair, impregnated her, and then killed murdered her.
Caveat also has a character who is bad, have bad things happen to them, and I love that. Like I think McCarthy's really good at giving us these B plots that merge with the A plots to then like kind of make it all come together.
Yeah.
I've described horror movies that do that as very Seinfeld like, and I'll say that again here. that all the plots come together at the end. So
Yes, that is true. That is true. And I think this movie, especially so.
yeah, sorry. That I really wanted to say that though. That I love that he continues to do that.
Yeah.
and I think it works every time. It works for me.
It works
every
really
time.
well. I like that this man is a man who's like, fuck evil men. I love a man who can recognize bad
And
behavior.
guess what he's
of
going to
men.
get? And they implied he'd get his penis torn off.
Hell
And that's
yeah,
probably what's going to happen to
brother.
him.
That man
That's what the old
deserves
man
it.
said to the little kids.
I also think it's so, like, I really like that they set him up not only as, like, this bad character, but also this, like, very spineless, shitty character in other ways as well. Because he can't stand up to his father-in-law.
yeah.
He's, like, lying to he trying to take the easy way out by setting the hotel on fire.
He's
like,
a little
he's
baby back bitch. Is the best way to
unable
put it.
to take any sort of accountability and is willing to hurt people so he can avoid taking accountability.
So you love to see it. Yeah, when that witch dragged him
Yeah.
off, I was like, maybe she is the good guy now.
That's what I was about to say. Like, I guess she did the right
You know,
thing.
another interesting thing they decided on at the end was they found remains of Jerry and Joanna. I can't remember her name.
Fiona.
Why do I want to call her Joanna?
No idea.
Fiona. But they did not find Mel.
Yeah, because he's in hell.
He's in hell. Might show up eventually.
I think it is an interesting read if you look at her as like a manifestation of guilt because he doesn't hurt Fiona. She has nothing to feel guilty for. She doesn't kill Fiona. Fiona died from being stuck down there.
We don't know that though because she did hear something.
I know,
But yes,
I
you're
think
right.
we can infer that she didn't because she wasn't dragged away, and she would have been.
Yeah.
She had no defense against herself. So I think that is an interesting justification too about like why Fiona didn't get got by the witch.
Very possible.
And, like was able to free himself when he
When
was
he
able to
was
let
able to-
himself
Yep.
go of that guilt.
I think there's a lot of different ways to read it.
Yeah.
Like we'll never really know. All that being said, if you have a spooky hotel and a spooky dumbwaiter, you're basically 50% of the way there for me. Like it's gonna be hard for me to dislike a scary scene with a scary dumbwaiter. Just shout out that basement. Oh, I love it. Sorry, there's a weird noise, but like chef's kiss. And then he goes to go out, and there's the new CMU wall there that they put up. That blocked. You got all these old stone foundations, and then boom, CMU wall because they actually did block it off. Love it. That whole basement, the setup, the lighting, the things hanging from the ceiling that the witch put there, adorable. Love it.
So I was wondering if those were actually witches' bells.
Yeah, I think so.
Well,
I think the witch
witches'
hung them.
bells are to ward off negativity and designed to cleanse energy. So
I don't know if they're witches' bells, but I think the witch put them there.
Interesting.
Is that the same in Irish folklore, though?
That's a great point. I
You
don't know.
them. You know them Irish. That's me.
I don't know. But that's kind of what I saw them as, which also makes the read
Should I say as an
very
Irish
interesting. Because they're made by witches to ward off evil influences and to cleanse, from my understanding.
man? Okay.
So it's very interesting if she's hanging all of those things there, that she's cleansing, which would also kind of read into the manifestation of guilt narrative, I think, a little more, too. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. There's a lot of ways to read, and I love this altogether, and I hope that you guys agree that it's as pithy as I think, because even saying all the things we're talking about now, there's like reasons for everything.
Yeah.
Even the scenes that slow down to do all the silly stuff with the bell, with him trying to get
Yeah.
Jerry's attention, and then Jerry
liked
finally
it.
comes back and is like, Fiona
It felt like an
taught me
action
to-"
movie. It was tense.
But he's like, Fiona told me to trust my gut when something fell off and something feels off. He's like, why would you come back here?
Yeah.
And I was like, you get his ass, Jerry.
Get him, Jerry.
And also our whole theater gasps when Jerry died. I was,
Well,
every
every
time.
single time I've seen this movie 3 times.
because
Like we
everyone
said,
loves him.
every time I've seen this movie, there were audible.
Yeah, when Jerry dies, because Jerry's the man.
I think
Everyone needs a Jerry in their life.
I think that was the most reaction I got to
today.
any scene in the movie.
was that.
Was that scene.
Yeah. Agreed.
Every time.
It's because you just like,
Besides,
he
like,
comes back
one
and you
or
think
two
he's
screen
won. You
spots.
think he's going to make it happen. It's brutal.
And he deserves to, but yeah, sad. Okay, so obviously this movie's scary to us. We said that.
Yes.
What do you think is the scariest scene?
Oh, I told you. The scariest scene
It's when the
is when
witch
he's
crawls
sitting in the
up.
dumbwaiter and she's walking towards him from the darkness. Also, shout out when Darby is looking through the hotel grate and she's standing there and he puts the lighter through and then drops it. That was pretty scary.
What did you call him?
Darby.
That's not his name.
Oh my God, I don't know his name. The bellboy.
Yeah, his name's not
The bell
Darby,
man.
but
The
that's
bell
okay.
elder. But
Albie.
Darby, Albie, same thing. Someone in the comments got me. Thank you, Aaron.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm stupid sometimes.
Yeah, I know. Joanna and
Darby.
Darby.
I'm so sorry, guys.
Joanna and Arby's.
All right, shut up. Everyone shut up. All right. Leave me be. What I was saying was the scary scene is when he's sitting in that dumbwaiter and the little bell guy with the side eyes that he uses is not hitting the bell, and it's like looking at us. It's breaking the fourth wall to be like his little stupid side eye, and it stares at him and breaks his fourth wall.
Yeah.
And I was like, I am so scared.
Yeah.
Please go. She's walking. It also reminds me of a scene in Resident Evil Village, the Benevito mansion. If anyone, or House Benevito, whatever. If you know, you know. It also reminds me of a scene from Hill House with the dumbwaiter.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to come up.
Yeah.
So dumbwaiter's scary.
Scary.
Anyway, so it hits that trope. It's scary. Oh, I'm free. He made it out. Looks down. All of a sudden, she's looking straight up at him.
Up.
No, first she's just looking in the darkness, and you just see her face, and you're like, "Oh my God, okay, I'm safe." And then all of a sudden, it's a very Pulse-like moment. Ghost Under the Stair and Pulse, which is, I think, one of the scariest scenes I've ever seen in my life. And that is, again, that's where I got nauseous in an amazing way. And then it was like, oh, nothing is safe. The witch is out. Anything can happen. So that's my scary scene. What was yours?
I'm trying to think of when I hid this time because, having seen the movie twice, I didn't feel the need to hide or like cover my mouth or anything. I still hid, again, third watch, when he is in the room and the witch is in the room chasing him and she's walking around.
Oh, I have goosebumps.
And you see her shadow behind and then you see her hand reach in and start trying to unlock the door. I felt like my heart was going to beat out of my chest.
Who put ants under my skin?
Like, actually,
Damian McCarthy, you owe me financial compensation for putting spiders under my skin. I'm going to peel my skin off.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel uncomfortable in your skin? You should peel it off.
I think the first time I saw it, I'm trying to think of the scares that made me scream the first time.
Oh, the rabbit or the donkey.
I think it is the donkey on the TV.
I saw someone complain about him in the comments as being just there for marketing. I'm pretty sure that was the show he was watching when he shot his mom.
Yeah, it is.
So it's like part of the manifestation. It's like part of his dream, actually. It's like a nightmare about when he shot his mom in the show. And like, I also just think him writing in, being like, I'm so sad. My dad hates me now. And the character being like, you deserve it, you little bitch. I love that. So.
Yeah, no, he literally says, like, he should hate you. It's crazy. It's basically this character, like, saying the things to him that he feels about himself. They just had the character vocalize it.
Yeah. I totally agree. I think that's it, because it's a dream.
Yeah.
Can I say one more thing, just a dying to discuss moment from our other podcast? I really liked that scene when he had tried to take his own life, and he's out cold, and he's back in the hotel, and it's all black and white. And then he ends up seeing, I think, his mom.
Yeah,
I really thought that was cool. I didn't expect that. It was like very different filmmaking. It was the only time they did it. Just wanted to shout it out. I thought it was really neat and like really set me up for a lot of tension early. So
I agree with that. Let me see what else. So we're still kind of talking about the last thing we were talking about before that was the scary level of the film and scariest scenes.
Oh, it's the scariest movie I've seen this year. It's not the scariest movie of the past decade. That's still skimmering for me. But this like hits some of the...
Well, because of that, I wanted to do my hot take and ask you some this or that. So
my hot take was this is my favorite portrayal of a witch I've ever seen. Of a spooky, scary witch.
It's a good hot take.
Yeah.
My hot take is this movie is scarier than at least 7 of the 10 Science of the Scare films. So Science of the Scare every year does a study where they, record people's heart rate. So they record like the biggest spike and then also heart rate variance. And they put out their list of the movies that seemingly scared people the most. So I'm going to go through last year's 10
Okay,
And you're going to
ask me
do
which one's
this or
scarier.
that is scarier.
got
I
it.
think
I'm
this
ready.
movie is scarier than at least 7.
Okay. Well, I'm going to ask you after, right?
Yes. So
okay.
Hokum or Sinister?
Hokum. Not even close.
Hokum or Host?
Hokum.
Hokum or Skinamarink?
Skinamarink.
Hokum or Insidious?
They're so different. I'm going to say Hokum, but Insidious has some of the best jump scares I've ever seen.
Yes,
So.
I agree. Hokum or The Conjuring?
This is like a tie. I want to say
Yeah.
Hokum. I think The Conjuring has more scares per minute.
Yeah.
And I think the scares hit. I think Hokum gets me in a different way.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
And like, I do think that The Conjuring is more of a jump scare one, but this one has some well-crafted jump scares with also some insanely tense moments, as we kind of said before. So, sorry, I had to explain.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Hokum or Hereditary?
Oh, not comparable. Hereditary, but for different reasons. I can't. Give me Hereditary, sorry.
Hokum or Smile 2?
Hokum. I love Smile too, though.
Hokum or Smile?
Hokum. I was like, is that even a question?
Hokum or Exorcism of Emily Rose?
That's so silly. That movie's not a scary movie, but
So Hokum.
Yeah.
Hokum or Talk to Me?
Hokum.
Okay.
That's my
So
thought.
you said Skinamarink was scarier, Insidious...
No, not Insidious. Did I say it? No, I would say Hokum's scarier than Insidious.
You said Conjuring probably scarier and Hereditary scarier. So you said it was scarier than at least 7 of the films.
Yeah, all right. So your turn. Hokum or Sinister?
Hokum.
Hokum or Host?
Hokum.
Hokum or Skinamarink?
Hokum.
Oh, wow. Okay, Hokum or Insidious?
Insidious.
Hokum or The Conjuring?
Probably The Conjuring. That one's like tough for me. There's 2 that I'm like, man, I don't know.
Hokum or Hereditary?
Hereditary.
Yeah, Hokum or Smile 2?
I have only seen Smile 2 once in theaters, and I was fucking terrified, but I think I was probably just as terrified watching Hokum the first time, so I feel like that's a tie, probably leading Hokum to
Hokum or
scarier.
Smile?
Hokum.
Hokum or Exorcism of
Hokum.
Emily Rose? Hokum or Talk to Me?
Hokum.
Yeah. Hokum's really scary. This is what we'll say. In a good way. It's a very fun scary if you like a good folk horror.
What I will say is I think Oddity is scarier.
I don't know if... I don't know if I agree. I think Hokum's a better made movie and a better movie overall.
That's
I think
not what I
Oddity's
said.
Great. I know.
So rank order from least scary to scariest, Damian McCarthy, 3 films.
Hokum, Oddity...
I said least scary to scariest.
Caveat's the least scary. Oddity and Hokum kind of tied.
You're such a cheater.
Beat you to it.
Okay. I am going to say caveat at the bottom, but I think it has one of the best jump scares of like the last decade.
Yeah.
And that's the hat. And then I will say Hokum, and then I will say Oddity is the scariest. But again, I have actually only seen Oddity 1 time, but it scared the absolute shit out of me. And I've rewatched the tent scene probably 20 times, and I hide every single time.
It's a masterful jump scare.
So I will say I still find Oddity scarier than Hokum.
Okay. I wanted to shout out another person in our comments because the commenters are saying great things today. So let's shout out Amanda Porter, said, Hokum gave me the same scary feeling of running to bed as a kid after shutting off the lights off. That's almost exactly what I said earlier about hiding under the sheets.
And
I
also,
totally agree.
I still do that, so...
You know, I wish I could have something scare me that I would feel the need to do that. I'm
feel
not one of
that
those
way
guys that's
by-
like, scary movies aren't scary. These movies scare me, but I haven't had one like petrify me late
I'm
into the
not
night.
saying I do it because of movies. I do it because I'm scared of existing, and anything could be there. My dad
True.
used to hide under my bed when I was little,
and
like
pretend to be E.T.
and like jump scare me from under my bed. So I've been fucked up from a young age.
I know.
Okay,
We've talked about it on the pod many times. All right.
not everyone on TikTok is heard this spiel. Okay. And so we're going to also rank order how much we enjoy Damian McCarthy's films. That's easier.
I already said Hokum is his like
From-
magnum opus right now. In my
From
opinion.
bottom to top, as always. That's
I'm
always how
sorry.
we rank.
I'm sorry. Caveat is his worst. Oddity is really good, but in the middle, and Hokum is his best.
I'm going to agree. I have the exact same rating. Caveat, Oddity, Hokum.
Caveat's good. It's just not as good.
And Oddity is great.
Oddity's great, and Hokum is like his masterpiece at this moment, I would say.
I think Hokum is just the most tied together. It
has
wrapped in a pretty bow.
Amazing screenplay. Is
Yeah.
what I would say, as an overall.
It's a great script.
Everything else he does is great, but it is a tight movie. That's the best way to put it. I a horror movie that can be tight and also this thematically rich, like what else can I ask for? Mm-hmm. All the only other thing I need is for it to be scary, and it is.
Yes.
So, or have a spooky dumbwaiter. Right.
Yep.
So.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anything else? Or can we get to rating it?
I had another
This or that. Let's do it.
Of travel horror movies. Yep. Okay. Travel horror movies. Our character is traveling somewhere. Hokum or Midsummer?
Midsummer. Sorry. Midsummer's a 10 out of 10 movie for me.
Hokum or Barbarian?
Hokum. No, Barbarian.
Yeah, I was going to say. Hokum or The Descent?
Hokum.
Hokum or The Ritual?
I think The Ritual's awesome, but Hokum.
Hokum or As Above, So
Hokum.
Below?
Don't even hit me with that.
Hokum or Old?
Hokum.
Hokum or The Cabin in the Woods?
Uncomparable, but Hokum.
Hokum or Us?
Us.
Okay.
You know how much I love Us.
I know.
The hardest one on that was Barbarian. I would also say The Ritual is really good. Hokum feels like the natural successor to the Ritual
see that.
in some ways, in terms of like folk horror. They're very different, but I feel that Hokum is. The Ritual is I get a good explanation. The Ritual is a folk horror for modern folk horror lovers. Mm-hmm. Hokum is a folk horror for people that don't know they like folk horror yet. It's like a more obtained. It's a more.
I see that.
Yeah, it's a more viewer friendly folk horror, is what I would say. So.
All right, read it for
Maybe
me.
I'm just talking out my ass, though. I'd be doing that sometimes. That's what a podcast is all about. Okay, Hokum or Midsummer?
Midsummer.
Yeah, Hokum or Barbarian?
Barbarian.
Hokum or The Descent?
Hokum.
Hokum or The Ritual?
Hokum.
Hokum or As Above, So Below?
Hokum.
Hokum or Old?
Hokum.
Hokum or The Cabin in the Woods?
Hokum.
Hokum or Us?
Hokum.
All right.
That one's tough, though. That's like my closest.
The Cabin in the Woods one is so funny because if it's like,
they're just so different.
If it's October 15th and I want to watch a fun, spooky movie, I'm going to say Cabin in the Woods over Hokum some days because Cabin in the Woods just hits all the right spots. Cabin in the Woods is
great.
It's really good. But I could also say Let's
good.
Play Until Dawn. That kind of scratches a similar itch to Cabin in the Woods for me.
Before we rate, we introduced a new segment last time that we're going to see. We're going to keep trying out, see if we like it, if it feels like a good fit, if we want to keep it. So it's the horror relationship test. How would our relationship and our own selves hold up in this movie? So our questions: who panics first? Who makes the worst decision? And do you split up?
Okay.
But we're going to assume that we both get to...
the basement?
We both get to the honeymoon suite.
Okay. I think you panic first.
Immediately,
Definitely.
yes.
I think I'm going to panic, but I think you're the panic first. Like you were, and I'll be real, I think I'm going to be annoyed. Like I'm going to be like, stop panicking.
Bitch,
like
simmer.
and like sometimes your panicking makes me more like lock in. So I might hit that like fight in my fight or flight. Okay, so who makes the worst decisions? Me. Because I'm going to be like, impulsive. I'm more impulsive and I'm going to be like, hello, witch lady. And I'm going to try to bargain with her probably.
That's crazy. No, I think sometimes when I'm really panicky, my brain stop working. But once I take like a second to breathe, I don't think I'm going to like fuck up. And also, only one person's fitting in that dumbwaiter, so we know damn well you're going down.
Well, that was the next thing I was going to say is I think the worst decision in the split up is both me because I'm going to do the same thing I do in the nighttime corn maze and I'm going to be like, sprint off, let your eyes adjust, and I'm going to sprint down the hallway being like, this is so fun. And then I'm going to be like, help. And I'm going to get dragged by the witch by you and you're just going to laugh, shake your head at me and be like, you brought this upon yourself. And then I'm going to get pulled in.
But
so that's how things go.
If she really is like only taking the bad boys who have a guilty conscience, then you're fine.
Then you're going.
What?
No, I'm sorry.
I do have like a guilt problem over things.
You got Catholic guilt more than I do.
I should not have guilt for the things that I have guilt for. It's actually really problematic and it is debilitating at times. Like I should simply not have the guilt, and then I'm like,
Sometimes you need to believe you're a golden god and that you're God's gift to earth and that everyone bows down to you.
Okay, Dennis Reynolds.
It's, to be honest, like, I don't think that way, but sometimes you fake feeling that way because it's just good for you.
Yeah,
and sometimes
that's
you
true.
should. It's like my joke about how I say that I just always assume anyone who talks to me is hitting on me, man or woman.
You do that. Yeah.
It sounds crazier than it is for anyone listening, but it's kind of a bit between Hannah and I.
It's definitely a bit that has been going for a really long time.
Or everyone is just hitting on me.
I don't know
very
about
possible.
that, Chief. Do we survive the movie?
I'm thinking no for me.
Oh, that's
You know,
sad.
I based on what I said before, you know what? Fine. I'm pretty fast. I'm a speedy boy.
I
think I could probably like dive through some windows. I'm not getting wet in that bathtub. I'm probably jumping over that. I'm going to say I'm going to survive. I think I'm going to break the door down and I'm getting us out of there. So I'll change my mind.
I think we'll survive, but I don't know why I think that. I just think that.
You just think just say it.
I just think we are.
By saying it makes it true.
I just think we are. Also, if we get down to it, we're breaking the window and you're going
just
down.
going out the window. Yeah, I'd jump that.
I can't tell what floor they're on. It's high up.
Second floor. Oh, you're right. I do love that there's
I'm
only an
assuming
elevator.
it's,
That
like,
is a major fire
3 or 4.
hazard. Tell you
Yeah.
that.
But yeah, worst case scenario, we are breaking the window, but that's like if we're there for a long time, So I think we survive it.
All right.
You want to rate it now?
Yeah, let's rate it. I know mine. I'm
Also,
giving this
folks
movie,
at home, if you have new bits that you think we should try, let us
know.
We
We'll do
would
bits.
love to
I
add
liked that
them.
one. I am giving this a 9 out of 10. I really thought this could have been a 10. And there's something, it's just not a full 10. And I always say a 10 is a full feeling for me. Mm-hmm. And I just don't feel a 10. It's a 9. I really like it. So
Yeah.
I've probably said that exact same speech many times before. So 9 for me. What do you think?
I'm struggling with whether I want to give it a silly decimal or not. My Letterboxd score was a 4.5 out of 5.
That was mine too.
So I kind of feel like a 9. If I were going a decimal, I'd say like maybe an 8.9.
Okay.
But like a 9.
It's great, is what we would say.
I like
We've
seen some shit.
I've seen some shit. I've seen some really great stuff. This is pretty great.
This is a great.
Yeah.
That's
okay. Dalton endorsement scale.
Which is where our scores more specifically reflect how much we reckon in the film, taking into consideration personal enjoyment and potential cultural impact if it's like an older film, yada yada. Negative score means we don't endorse the film. 0 is true neutral, and a positive score means you should defo see it.
Yeah, I'm giving this it's a +5.
I was gonna give
this
it a
is a
+5.
horror movie that it's like this is like right now. This is the horror movie of the year. Hyperbolic, whatever, glazing the movie. I'm sure in 2 weeks everyone's going to be like, Hokum wasn't that good because all of us said how good it was, so everyone's going to have to get contrarian on us. It's a +5 right now. I think it's the horror movie of the year. But, for me, I would say before I think Alpha is my favorite horror movie of the year, but this is my favorite, I guess, true horror.
Yeah. I am with you. I agree. I'm not including Obsession or Leviticus, which we have seen, which are going to be big releases post this point.
I was including them, and I think this is scarier than both of them.
I think it's scarier than both of them. Yes. I haven't decided which I like the best because I've seen this 3 times and I've seen those 2 once.
You know what? I'll see Obsession again. But in this moment, I like Hokum better than both of them.
But as of right now, yes, this is the horror movie of the year. I think it will stay in my top 5 throughout the rest of the year. I think that's like a given, honestly. There would have to be some crazy shit out to blow this out of the water out of 5 because it's number 1 right now. So yeah. We really like this film, and we highly, highly recommend that you get your booty to a theater where it's showing near
seats. You. Yep. Okay, well, anything else we got to talk about, or can we wrap it up for the podcast, folks?
I think we can wrap it up.
All right, well, I've been Matt Hannah.
I'm Hannah.
This is Horror at the Hannahs. Stay tuned
and stay scared. Thank you for listening to Horror Hour with the Hannahs. Make sure to listen to future episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or wherever else you can find podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube, where we post episodes and shorts. You can follow us at Horror Hour with the Hannahs on TikTok and Instagram, as well as at Horror Hour on Blue Sky for more content. If you like the podcast, please follow and leave a review on your favorite podcasting app. Happy hauntings!